Hi, this is Dr. Dan Purser, danpursermd.com. Tonight, I am here with Lois Schweigert of End Fibromyalgia with Natural Options fame, the famous Lois Schweigert.
Yeah.
You're going to have more followers than me eventually, I suspect. And you're up from Arizona. You battled these desert storms, the Scirocco's, the desert storm, and much else to get up here.
Yeah.
Right. Also across from me is Jackson. Say hi, Jackson.
Hello.
What that you didn't mind me.
I never do.
Okay. And then way across from me over there, hiding in the corner, is Brecken.
Hello.
Hey, so Brecken, how'd you get here tonight?
Drove.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Drive.
Okay, Jackson, will you play the Star Spangled Banner or whatever we play?
Oh, man. It's been a little while.
I think. That's a Star Wars theme song. I understand.
Yep.
Is that what that was?
Yay.
I don't know what that was.
Sure.
Can you play A Star Is Born on that sometime?
A Star's Born.
Or how about It's a Small World?
Yeah, I could probably
Okay,
learn
good.
those.
That'd be fun to have. That is the
I probably
theme
won't ever play them, but I probably could.
song. You would probably get in trouble with Disney. No, that's actually CRM or DRM. It doesn't have DRM on it. It's free. They never license it. Walt wanted the world to have It's a Small World. Did you know that?
I did not.
Did you know Walt? You were too young.
I was too young.
Yeah, I didn't know him either. So I wish I did. But okay. So tonight we've got 30 questions that Lois has created just to torture me. And I haven't seen them at all. Well, maybe a little, but just glance at them briefly. But she's going to ask me these questions. This is Stump Dr. Purser night on Fibro. Is that right?
We'll find out.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a hard yes on that, I think. So do we have any other news? Do we have any Black Friday or Cyber Monday stuff out yet?
Not yet, but coming.
I noticed Ben's Bargains had a bunch from all these companies.
Ben's Bargains?
That's a website I like to look. It's a really good website.
That
I look at.
explains a lot about you,
It's
actually.
like Amazon.
For
has
boomers.
stuff already going for boomers.
It is. He's followed them for a
Just
long
kidding,
time.
just
boomer.
kidding.
Okay, we won't go
Now
there.
he's upset.
So drop that. So we are going to have in 2 weeks, just to kind of set this up, I am going to have my really famous ongoing list of things I would have in an emergency if the world were to end tomorrow, right? Okay, things you want to have in your food storage, things you want to have in your closet, things you want to have in your drawer or your medicine cabinet. So that'll be in 2 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're thinking.
We're doing a video on that?
Facebook Live.
That's awesome.
Yep, Facebook Live. Lois will not, but Lois might be here.
I'll still be here.
You'll still be here.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll still be
Yeah.
here.
yeah.
Maybe we'll do another one before I leave.
Good. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, I understand you have some questions for me.
I do.
Let's get right into this. The crowd is antsy. We know they like us to get right into this.
Okay. First, I was going to mention that I injured myself last night.
Wow.
I burned myself on my oven, and
Were you making me cookies?
I wasn't.
Were you making me Disney cupcakes?
Next time.
Wow.
But
I'm getting no love.
I
here.
happened to have a bottle of Singular on the counter, and
And what would Singular be?
well, it's for shingles, but I decided that I would try it on my burn, and it took the sting away immediately. And then like 10 minutes later, I used it again. And then 10 minutes later, I used it again. And then I haven't, like, I can't even feel it. It doesn't hurt at all.
I would think
Man.
whoever has Singular and the glutathione in it that had gotten a patent on it, probably there's something about burns in that patent. Anyway, I'm just guessing, but I don't know that
my
for sure.
question was, because my thought process was, would it be good for any skin condition potentially?
What we're legally allowed to say about it is that it can restore and renew your skin. did it start that process?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, like literally,
It's
there's
a bad
no.
looking burn.
Yeah, yeah,
I've seen blisters go 3rd degree.
yeah.
That's,
So okay, so good.
I'm not
glad,
saying
so.
what they were taking that made it go away. I just haven't seen it go away.
Okay. Well,
okay.
it seemed to work well for me last night. So I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah, well, I definitely have strong opinions about it in burns and what's going to happen in the world of burns when it really we get all the FDA work done, approvals on it. So.
I guess my opinion would be if you have something, just try it, see if it works on it. Okay. Okay. So
thank you for saying that.
Yeah. One thing that I wanted to talk about was the most common genetic errors related to fibromyalgia.
Is that your cheat sheet? Did you write?
Yeah,
that
I have some cheat sheets. Yes, I do. Yeah.
You know what's taken me years? I've watched, I've listened, I've learned. Definitely MTHFR and other methylation errors is critical. They are critical because they cause part of the toxicity issue and inability to move metals around. First of all, I think fibromyalgia is a copper zinc metallothionein dysfunction. Enough of you have heard me say that you get that. Yeah, at least you understand. I believe that. I don't know if you get it, but the copper zinc metallothionein is this thing that essentially looks like the head of a trident. It grabs copper zinc here, and this reduced glutathione molecule and moves it either into or outside of your cells and puts it where it should be. If you got too much copper, it'll take it away, put it where it should be. And if this is dysfunctional, this copper zinc metallothionein, and then right here, this is a killer T cell that controls it and uses it like a pitchfork. That's pretty good puppet work, huh?
Puppet work?
Or whatever this
Puppet
is.
work.
Is that what you call
It's like
it?
a puppet.
That's a demonstration. Pretty good demonstration.
Pretty good demonstration. Yeah, I could do that on stage even.
Do you think?
Yeah, I haven't yet, but well, maybe. But okay. Yeah, and if you have a dysfunctional copper zinc metallothionein, you'll get a buildup of copper outside your cells and not enough copper in your cells. That's why we do the SpectraCell a lot of times when you have fibro, and they have low copper levels. Not all of them, but a lot of them do. And so can it be another metal other than copper?
Yes.
Yeah. Rarely, maybe 1 out of 200, but it can be something else. Lead, arsenic, gadolinium is common because people get gadolinium dye when they do tests. That's a common cause of fibro that I've seen. So so MTHFR, the glutathione errors like GSTP1, GPX1, STMO1, all that. The NAT2 SNPs, which really probably the most associated with the copper zinc metallothionein dysfunction. It's funny on, never mind, but NAT2 requires the same elements that I use in our copper balance. I didn't know that when we designed copper balance, which is just a copper zinc metallothionein support product, but we're awarded U.S. patents on that, which is a big deal because we proved for the first time that our copper zinc metallothionein worked beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
And COMT SNPs, I think I said that already, and SOD2 and SOD3 SNPs, superoxide dismutase SNPs.
Yeah. So does that, based on what genetic errors you have, that kind of explains why some people have varying symptoms or degrees of symptoms? Would that be accurate?
Right. When I see those genetics, either through a Pro7 or a 23andMe and a NutraHacker Complete. So it's 23andMe, you got to send it to NutraHacker Complete. It takes about 10 weeks to get all this done. It's crazy. But if you want it quicker, Pro7 can help a lot too and be much faster. But and we're going to start offering a fibromyalgia panel here in the near future that covers all these SNPs. So, by the way, so they can just get that, and 2 weeks later we'll know what's going on. But yeah, it does. So I can tell you from looking at those how severe your fibro is going to be, how severe your chronic fatigue syndrome is going to be, because the methylation part or the MTHFR part, if it's milder, your chronic fatigue will be a lot less.
Yeah.
And fibro, did you have chronic fatigue?
Yeah. Yes.
Why did you laugh? Was it funny or?
Yeah, because yes, yeah, it was kind of yes. Yes, I suffer with, and that's something I wanted to mention also. And Jackson helped me understand. Well, because we recently did a SpectraCell, I needed to tweak some things.
Right.
So you had me add a half of a tiny vite, and I felt so much better just starting with that little one. So we tweaked it again. So now I was 6 months ago taking 4 Endures a day. And now I'm taking 1 Endure in the morning, and I'm taking 2 to 4 tiny vites. And I had never tried them before. And
so you're taking half a tiny vite is equal to 1 MTHFR Endure. Because I know I take a half a tiny vite. That's my dose every day because I only have a few errors.
Yeah.
So, and I feel much better on that. If I miss, I feel bad. But anyway, so you take 1 to 2 extra Endures a day, really? You're taking 3 and 1 and 2?
1 Endure,
Okay.
and then 2 to 4 tiny vites a day. But the thing was, I felt like it really, really helped me. So I asked Jackson, because
Right.
I thought they were exactly the same.
Not quite, yeah.
And I asked Jackson if they were different, because I felt different and I felt better. And he explained to me the difference. So would you want to explain
Jackson,
the
here's your
difference a little
chance.
bit, Jackson?
You're live. You're talking to a million people.
You
My
did such
time
a
to
great
shine.
job explaining it to me. I thought it was great.
Well, like you guys were just talking about, the tiny vites per tablet are a much smaller dose than the dose of the normal MTHFR.
Right. Half a dose, yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of weird because a full dose of MTHFR Endure is 2 capsules. And so,
So it's a quarter of a dose.
yeah, if you're taking half of a tablet of it, it's about a quarter of a dose of MTHFR.
But that varies because I have patients who can't take 2 tablets.
Definitely, yeah. So
And I have
that's
patients who take 7.
right,
Yeah.
and that's why it's kind of nice with the tablets. You can play around with it a little bit more.
Right.
The other main thing, the formulation of the tiny vite,
Right.
it actually has methylcobalamin in it and hydroxycobalamin. The Endure only has hydroxycobalamin, and so those are vitamin B12s, different versions of B12. And they both kind of fit into different pathways in the methylation cycle, have a little bit different reasons to need to be there. And so that's why the tiny vite, some people have a lot better experience with it just by adding in that little bit of methylcobalamin as well.
So I think if you're still struggling, order some tiny vites and try. I mean, how many years
Start
have
with
you
a
guys
quarter.
had those, and I never tried it?
Try a quarter of one to begin with. Try that for 4 or 5 days. See if you feel better.
Yeah.
Try a half of one. That's equal to a quarter of a capsule. And try a whole tiny vite, which is equal to half an Endure.
Yeah.
You go up from there. It's a really good way to refine your
And I can
what you're
keep a
taking
bottle in my purse, and then if I just feel like I'm starting to kind of, I want some caffeine, I just pop a tiny vite.
Maybe I should take one
or
now.
2. Yeah. And it's really seems to be helping. Yeah, since I'm going on 3 hours sleep a night. I'm in Utah because my daughter needed ACL surgery. So I'm here for several weeks
We
helping
won't mention
her.
her name, right?
Yeah. But that's why I'm here for an extended period of time unexpectedly. So
And so we're taking full advantage of her.
yeah. So another thing is, why do we need specific types of vitamins
For these errors.
for these errors?
Like the NAT2 requires molybdenum, boron, zinc, B6. I can't remember some of the others, but exactly what we have in our in our copper balance. And the COMT errors require adenosine hydroxy B12, adenosine B12 and hydroxy B12, and probably DIM. I think DIM is critical. DIM, COMT errors tend to push you down the improper pathway or an unhealthy pathway for the way you break down estradiol, and increasing your breast cancer risk somewhat dramatically. For every SNP you have or error you have in COMT, you get 100% increased risk of breast cancer.
Wow.
So
Well, I take those. I
the
take both.
DIMs.
The DIMs and the
You take Dimavel from Design for Health.
yeah. And the, what'd you call them? I can never
The,
say.
the pure encapsulations,
Yeah.
adenosine,
Yeah.
hydroxy B12. Yeah.
I take
That's
that
my
too.
favorite.
And the hydroxy, yeah, because you have COMT errors out the
I do.
wazoo too, because I know your mom does. So.
Yep.
Yeah. So COMT errors. Well, you showed me an article today from some experts.
Well, they call themselves
No,
experts,
don't say-
but
yeah.
no, but
Yeah.
but and it had some information that confused me. So I
Confused
asked
me
you
too.
about it.
I was like, whoa. Yeah, and they and my first question to you was, well, did they write a #1 book that was 2 years #1 on Amazon? No.
Yeah.
So no. So I don't know if they're really the experts.
Yeah.
Well,
What was it they explained? What were they talking about?
COMT errors and how to treat them. Had to do with dopamine. It got really in the weeds and really confusing. There's some accuracy to it, but not much. I would deal with the methylation error. I deal with the B12 errors first and the DEM.
Yeah. Well, and it
That's
said that
available.
we should stay away from, if you have COMT, stay away from methylated vitamins.
Well-
and I was like, I'm taking all kinds of methylated
Yeah,
vitamins.
but adenosine hydroxy B12 was not methylated.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but there's also a pecking order of these genetic errors.
Mm-hmm.
I think MTHFR rules the roost. I would say for FibroNat2, errors are next. Then you can get into the COMT. You can get into the glutathione errors are really important for a number of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when your copper zinc metallothionein isn't functioning correctly. So the copper zinc metallothionein looks like that of a trident, and this metallothionein. We have two metallothioneins in our body, but it grabs copper and zinc and puts it where it should be. And if yours isn't working right, you get copper toxicity issues. I didn't figure that out. The naturopaths did first. They didn't know why. I'm the one who figured out the copper zinc metallothionein connection. But yeah, so this is the center part of this is reduced glutathione. Remember the killer T cells back here in the guiding around, hammering copper and zinc with it to grab it. But this is what grabs it, that real sticky, smelly end of the glutathione molecule, like in our VARs. Yeah.
So is that how you got on the path of creating a glutathione?
We were going to do a study. I had postulated, because I had been told by a patient of mine who I really liked, she's a really nice lady, but she had fibro, that she had copper toxicity issues. She and her husband had figured that out. And I even name her in the entry forward of my book, on this, but my 85% solution, which was #1 for 2 years on Amazon, by the way. But yeah, she had a copper zinc metallothionein, and she's told me that she's the one who told me that the naturopaths had figured this out years before as a copper toxicity issue. So I did all the research I could on copper zinc metallothioneins and realized glutathione played a really important part in it. I then went out. I was trying to buy a functional version of glutathione. Plus, when I was doing research down in Southern California, we'd done a lot of glutathione research down there. So I knew there wasn't one, but I still probably bought 50, 60, 40 or 50 of them off Amazon back then. There are more now. And not one worked. No, they were all, you could tell the way the bottle was made, the way the product was made, the product itself, the taste, the smell, the look. You could tell they were fake. They're not fake. They have glutathione, but it's oxidized. It does you no good. And so that's when we created we had to create a functional glutathione. I wanted to get my wife better. She had a really good friend named Lois who I wanted to help get better.
Yeah.
I had some patients who had fibro, and it was really more for my wife and for her kids. Did you guys want to thank me? Now you can thank me profusely. Oh, geez, wait, what? No, wait. So you petted me. That was weird. Okay. So we developed the glutathione. I also had the patients in that study. The study participants, they weren't really patients, but the study participants take 8 different supplements. I bought each of them off Amazon. The molybdenum, the boron. Actually, I think we missed boron in that first study. The B6, all that stuff. I had not yet connected it to MTHFR. Because the guy who wrote Dirty Genes, who's really knowledgeable on MTHFR, he said MTHFR was not connected to fibro. I wholly and completely disagree with that. It definitely is. And I believed that for a while until I saw you, saw my wife, and did other genetic testing and realized You guys all had MTHFR. And the worse your MTHFR, the worse your fibro.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Seems
and
to
the
be
worse your NAT2
consistent.
errors, NAT2 genetic errors, the much worse your fibro.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we developed the copper balance because I looked at like
Someone getting tased.
50 stages I was being tased.
That's what it sounds
Here's the
like.
fan. But the probably boring everyone, but the copper zinc metallothionein support.
You have a laptop cooler? Is that what's
Yeah.
making-
I'm turning it off.
I don't know if you guys can hear it. There's just a weird clicking noise.
Yeah. Mm,
So molybdenum, am I saying that right?
molybdenum, yeah.
Is that's a big deal for
Molybdenum.
me. So why is it a big deal?
Because, and you can go to PubMed and look for this metallothionein and molybdenum, and you'll see all these articles come up because the copper zinc metallothionein specifically, when it's getting ready to grab onto copper and move it around, it forms a thing called molybdopterin. Molybdopterin. I can say that really well, but that's how you say it.
Yeah.
I'm saying that kind of pronounced, but molybdopterin, and that's what it really helps guide. It's like the loading ramp or the grabbing or the ramp that helps the glutathione drag it on board.
Okay.
Kind of.
Which kind of, we've talked about this too, which is why we think that like some beans and like oatmeal,
Navy beans.
yeah, are high in molybdenum. I can never say that.
Molybdenum, yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that's why some of us can eat some of those, even though they're higher in copper, they don't
Right.
bother us as much. Because
Well, I think fibromyalgia is a modern. I think it's been around for a long time. Just no one ate high copper foods. The pioneers and people that settled this country didn't walk along and picking avocados and munching on them, nor did they pick peanuts up or dig them up on the trail as they rode their wagons by.
kale and spinach.
And kale and spinach
Yeah.
were a darn weed you had to burn out of your fields.
Yeah.
Still should be. Okay, so yeah, they're really high in copper. Nor did they go down to the local stream and catch a lobster. Wow, honey, we caught a lobster. Didn't do that.
Okay, what is the number one question that fibro sufferers asks you that makes you a little,
That bugs me.
that bugs you?
How come I'm not losing weight? I'm usually like, well, I've been treating you for 4 weeks and you're still stuck in bed. And even then, it's still going to probably be another 3 or 4 months. We got to get rid of your pain issues, get you up walking, all that. And then you'll probably start losing weight. Be patient.
Okay.
Did you want to ask me the number 2 question?
What's the number 2 question?
When can I start exercising? Can I start now? So it's kind of a combination question they throw at me. I'm like, well, I've only been treating you for 4 weeks. You're still in bed and you're hurt really severely. Your pain's dropped from a 10 to a 6, but that your 6 would cripple most NFL football players and destroy me. So, because your 6 is really a 48, but because you guys get so used to pain, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And you know that. Be patient, wait.
Yeah.
When you're up moving around, when you're not hurting, when you're not exhausted, then you can start exercising slowly, but very slowly. They usually go out and join what's that popular exercise everyone does?
Zumba.
What's it called?
No, I'm just kidding. Zumba?
Zumba? No, maybe.
That's what I was
No,
thinking.
what's the really hardcore one where they really
CrossFit.
Yeah, they joined a CrossFit. Really, they've been bedridden for 17 years, hurting every day, and they joined CrossFit. No,
Yeah.
it's like
I know. I can't tell you how many trainers I thought were trying to kill me.
yeah.
Like,
It's really
you can't
it was
train
that
me the
lobster
same way.
you ate was trying to kill
oh
you.
my gosh, yeah.
That you caught in the stream out back.
Right.
In Colorado.
What are other concerns that you have with a lot of your fibro sufferers that you see?
Anxiety.
Anxiety.
A lot of them have anxiety. Maybe that's back to the COMT
Mhm.
thing, but they have anxiety and depression. I
Yeah.
think it's more due to the vitamin deficiencies,
Mhm.
and they're scared the pain's going to come back.
That is a real fear.
I watch people near me who when they have a fibro flare, they just want to curl up in a ball and die and cry. And I get it because they're like, I can't believe it's hurting this bad. I thought I was past all this, and
Yeah.
here it is. I've had no pain for 4 months, and now just because I ate something stupid.
Yeah. Well, and I'm such a baby now because if I do start to get one, I'm like, and then I think, oh my gosh, this was nothing.
Did you ever
20
think?
years ago.
Did you ever think
this
we'd
was a
be
good
talking
day.
to thousands of people online, whatever online was
Yeah.
back then?
Yeah.
And we didn't even know that concept.
Yeah.
And about you and how you're not suffering much anymore.
No. Well, I was actually talking with Denise this earlier today.
And who's Denise?
Your lovely bride.
Okay, I didn't want to say that.
And I was just saying, like, oh my God, I just like taking care of Kelsey during this process. I don't know if I could have done it. I'm going on no sleep. I'm, up all hours of the night, up and down. Been here for 2.5 weeks now. It's been a thing, and I don't think I could have done it. I know I couldn't have done it.
It's good. No, you're amazing.
So I'm grateful because there's so many things that,
And now you're getting to interview me.
Yeah. Okay. The low copper diet, that gets a lot of questions and attention from people. And when we first started, there were like kind of 8 specific foods that we talked
nuts,
about. Yeah.
Almonds, I think I had on there.
Yeah.
That we had put on there, lobsters.
Yeah. We have expanded the list dramatically.
Well, I know that's because the naturopaths would tell people not to eat those things. I did not come up with this concept. All I've done is pinned it down as to the real cause of it. It's not magical. Not that the naturopaths thought that they didn't quite get exactly what it was. And I'm 99% sure I'm right, but I think the sod 2 error may have a lot more to do with it than we know, because it's a copper zinc sod.
Yeah.
Is that weird? That's weird.
Yeah.
And without it, you get pain and inflammation.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have that on their 23andMe's or their NutriHacker. I don't want to ever see your 23andMe. I never want to see that.
Yeah.
I want to see your NutriHacker complete, which is a compiler that you can get.
And I have all 3 of the sod errors, so I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, you're a mess. Oh, sorry.
I used to be. I'm much better now.
If only someone would develop a functional glutathione. Well, okay, we've done that. Functional sod product. That'd be a game changer, wouldn't it?
It could be.
It'd be amazing.
When would something like that maybe be available?
Oh no, next year.
Pay attention.
Okay.
Number 1 most common, I think this is a great secondary to fibro. What do you see in a lot of people?
I'll have them say they don't have fibro, and then the next question I usually ask is, because I've seen a low spectra cell copper level, and I've seen low glutathione level and low zinc level. Wow, all that's kind of a giveaway for it. And bad MTHFR. You can tell on a spectra cell all that. You can't tell what the MTHFR is, but you go, wow, you have a B12 pantothenate and folate deficiencies. How are you even talking to me without crying today? But it's usually the next question I ask is, do you have migraines? I get a lot of patients they swear they don't have fibro, but I think they can't feel it because their migraines are so severe.
Yeah.
Like that Major Pain movie, which I and Mike and the kids over here, we dearly love that. But he's always going, I can get rid of that gunshot wound pain. Bobby Joe, let me just see your finger. And then he breaks the guy's finger off. And that, something that hurts worse, you don't notice the gunshot wound.
I've never seen that movie.
What?
I've never seen it.
Your son's like special forces, dude.
I know, but I've never seen that movie.
He'd probably love that movie.
Maybe he's seen it.
I bet he hasn't, but you ought to show it to him next time you see him at Christmas.
I know he likes all those hardcore.
This is hardcore
battle shows.
Little kids being put to war. That's great.
Okay. I think we kind of talked about this, but anxiety and depression, psychiatric kind of.
Yeah, it's from the lack of the B12, folate, things like that. You can dig deeper into that if you want, but usually my first job and only job is at the beginning is to get rid of your pain and give you energy.
Yeah.
Get rid of the chronic fatigue and get rid of the fibro.
Yeah. Well, and I will say, I did a little video on it probably about 6 months ago or so, because I started kind of swirling, and I had about a week or 2 where I was just crying and really emotional, and I had no reason why. And I called you, and I was like, something is going on. We did a SpectraCell, and I had all these crazy deficiencies that I hadn't had previously, and my spectra cells had been pretty steadily improving.
Right.
So I don't know what happened. I don't know why. You're always telling me. I don't know. I've never seen this before
I don't
with
well,
you.
I got my sixth one 5 weeks ago.
Mm.
My sixth spectra cell, and I had a pantothenate and calcium deficiency. I've never had a pantothenate or calcium deficiency.
Yeah.
Not even borderline.
So
and
we
it
don't
was
know why.
killing me. I was just exhausted.
But the thing that was so, like, I knew it because we had talked about it before, and I talked to other people about it and saying, you know, a lot of times anxiety and depression, you know, if you can treat your vitamin deficiencies, what if we can lessen that a little bit, make it a little bit better? And for me, within a week of retweaking those vitamin deficiencies again, it went away again. So that was the first time in my personal experience that I was really able to put those two things together.
Right.
So
That's
that was big for me. And I think that's really important and something that probably the majority of doctors don't even consider. And it makes a difference.
I'm going to go that route because of my just more natural, I guess, but which is crazy. I know I get to play naturopath all day. I love the naturopaths. I love the naturopath in me, but yeah, I'm going to look for a natural option first. It's not that maybe you have a Deserol deficiency or not likely, or a Prozac deficiency. That's it. Or maybe you have a B12 or folate or B6 or some other deficiency.
But also, I know, like with me, you can, if you do need a little extra help with something, maybe you could have a lesser dose.
Yeah.
If you're balancing
And when
it
I
out.
do treat, it's rare, but when I do treat, it's usually with something like trazodone or Deserol. It's not addicting. It's easy to get onto and off of. It's safe. It's pretty much side effect free. Even Prozac's pretty good for most people, but some it just tears them up. But
Yeah.
so I even don't like that one.
So, I know what I wanted to talk about. So migraines, we were talking about that. Hormones, how do hormones affect all of this stuff? And
Absolutely they do. It's kind of, you can go along and have moderate fibrom, kind of be surviving with it. Then you go through menopause. Then it gets really dark. It's really painful because testosterone can help with your muscles, help you stay healthy, makes you feel really positive, helps you make decisions. There's so many good benefits to testosterone. Hardly no bad problems with testosterone if it's given in the right dose. Women need testosterone too. Progesterone is the big savior for women hormone-wise, because you can get rid of anxiety, helps you sleep like a baby. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and and so a good level of progesterone, even from taking HRT, progesterone, gives you a 500% decreased risk of breast cancer.
Yeah.
That's huge, 500% decreased risk.
So I know that we have a few people, sweethearts on the page, who are really suffering with migraines, and I think they're
Could be
taking
from lack of-
over-the-counter progesterone. So I wanted to talk to you, like, what's the difference between over-the-counter versions versus prescription? How do you know if you need to jump up?
Yeah, if you're hot flashing, migraine, and all that, jump up. But there is another option. And I'll mention. I know it's your Facebook Live kind of, but it's mine too.
Yeah.
So there's Progestin Plus, which usually everyone knows about. Try that one first if you're amenable to that, or you have a friend who's a Young Living distributor, or you're into Young Living. But there's something 40 times stronger. It's Progesteval, Eval from Designs for Health.
Yeah.
And we make that too for them.
Yeah. And that's a stronger over-the-counter version.
It's almost, it's a lot. It's 40 times stronger.
Okay. So then if that still isn't doing the trick, then they might need to see a physician and get a prescription.
Yeah, and I can, You can also contact MedQuest, MQRX.com, and ask for Russ Campbell. And he can guide you. MedQuest they're the nation's largest compounding pharmacy, but also they have a training arm, because I've taught some of those advanced courses for them. They train physicians about hormones and HRT and stuff like that. And I'm guessing upwards of 20,000 doctors have taken their courses.
Oh, wow.
So there's doctors near you who understand progesterone very well. Yeah. You just don't know who they are, and they're kind of quiet about it.
Now, then you might not want to answer this question, and that's okay. You can tell but I take a really high dose of progesterone every night. And I have friends who get compounded progesterone, but they take a much lesser dose, and their doctors do not want to give them a larger dose.
There's no reason not to.
Okay.
The study from the American College of Epidemiology in 1981 showed a blood level above 20 gives you a 500% decreased risk of breast cancer and 1,000% decreased risk of all cancers overall. That's a lot of data. That's a huge data point. And I guarantee those women are maybe have a level of 1 or 0.7 or 0.27 or something like that because they're allowed one little skimpy progesterone pill. You know what? Progesterone is one of those things you got to really talk to the lady and say, do you feel better on it? You're sleeping good. If you're not sleeping 8 hours and feel really rested and really happy the next day, and butterflies and cute little birds aren't landing on
unicorns and rainbows,
and all that's flying around you, you didn't take enough.
Okay. Yeah. So that, well, because I do know that some of them have been a little resistant to increasing their doses.
There's no reason why.
Okay.
Because when a normal young woman, when she's just floating along and having her period, stuff like that, and she's healthy and has normal cycles and everything, she might have a progesterone level of 20. But do you know what a woman who's in her last day of pregnancy, what her level will be?
I know it's higher.
It can be 900.
Oh, wow.
So really, you're going to squelch about someone who has a level of 40 or 50 or 18, which is even high enough, in my opinion. But that doctor, they're coming from an angle of, I don't mean this in a bad way, but ignorant.
Yeah.
They're ignorant.
They just don't understand it as much.
They're ill knowledgeable of the facts.
Yeah. Okay, we talked about why you wanted to address fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue
Did we?
We did.
My wife.
Yes. So why do so
friend.
many women with fibro have hair loss?
So there's a really good book out there. Don't buy it. I'm going to tell you that right now because I want to give you the whole punchline to it here in a second. But it's called The Bald Truth About Women's Hair Loss by Spencer David Coburn. And it's kind of the Bible of hair loss for physicians that deal with hair loss issues. I was in a plastic surgery group for years, and women would come in going, I need a hair transplant. I'm losing my hair. We'd go, no, we don't do that. But we will find out why you're losing your hair. We'll figure out the root cause. And here's the punchline of the book. Vitamin deficiency. By far and away, the biggest cause of women's hair loss, 99% of the time. It's that. Probably more than 99%. And if you can figure out which vitamin it is, it comes back.
Yeah. Almost
always. I've had maybe one case out of 500 who just didn't come back. She had alopecia. A real to goodness alopecia areata, which is an inflammatory problem with the scalp.
Yeah. Okay. And you have said, we've talked before about that fibro can present in other ways. So what are the most common ways that you see fibro presenting in people?
Oh, to me?
Yeah.
A copper deficiency on spectral cell. And I'm like, you have fibro, right? And they're like, I don't. I've never had that diagnosis. They say it really carefully. I've never been diagnosed with it. They don't say I don't have it or I don't have symptoms. They say I've never been diagnosed with it. Don't you find that odd?
Yeah.
That's an odd way to come back to me on that. And I'm like, so do you have stiffness and pain in your muscles and neck and upper back? And they'll go, yes. I said, does your skin ever feel like it's, when you have really bad days, it's just kind of peeling off and horrible and burning? And they're like, oh, yes. I'm like, are you tired all the time? Oh, yeah, that's why I'm calling you. I'm like, but we're not calling me for the pain and agony you're having. Well,
brain fog.
Kind of used to, the brain fog, all that. I'm like, well, I think you have fibro.
Yeah. And
you know how come I know all those?
Why?
Denise has explained, my wife has explained in great detail exactly what it feels like.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, it felt, I knew so well because she told me so many times. We were at the Dolphin at Disney World one night. I had to speak that day at a medical conference and at the Dolphin, which is really cool because it's right behind Epcot and right at Disney World. And it's a Marriott hotel though, not a Disney hotel, but still same thing. So there's a little secret there to stay there. But I eat nothing but protein bars and nuts and and peanut butter packets, stuff like that, didn't they? Because I was so busy speaking, I had suit and tie and all that on, didn't want to stop and eat. And so I woke up about 2 o'clock in the morning, just in agony. My skin felt like it was peeling off. My joints all hurt. Wounds were just horribly hurting. And I just could hardly move, and I had horrible brain fog. Of course, it was 3 o'clock in the morning, but and I asked my wife, I said, "Do you think I have fibro?" And she looked at me and said, "Yeah, take some copper balance and glutathione and go back to bed." So I found her copper balance. I took 8. I drink a lot of water first. I took 8. Oh, and then I took 20 squirts of glutathione and laid down. About 30 minutes later, I could go to sleep.
Yeah.
No symptoms. I don't know if it was a really bad nightmare, but I've had it happen twice since. And boy, do I avoid those foods now.
Yeah. Yeah, you get lessened, don't you?
I don't know what that was because I've never had fibro in my life.
Apparently you do.
I don't think so.
Okay, and then I
think
think our the last question that I have is,
have we really done 30?
Yeah, I probably more. Is what about fibro and seizures?
Yeah, copper issues. Think about it. Your brain is already on crisscross misfire and starts seizing, and you have areas of electrical conduction problems up in your brain. Let's throw some copper in there. What do you think that's going to do? So I've had a number of seizure patients who are having seizures daily, sometimes twice a day. Also, most seizure meds are really high in copper. And so, which adds to it. And so we get them on the low copper diet. We do all this stuff. It's just, lifestyle and everything else. That's your page in Fibromyalgia with Natural Options. You can go there and find all this, but and you don't get paid. They don't pay anything to do your life because you're poor.
Yeah,
okay.
No, you go to the public page and Fibro with Natural Options, like it, and then join the private
you still
group.
Don't get paid. Okay.
And that's where you're going to find all the information in the announcement section. It has the whole protocol, the food lists, and everything to get you started, and a really great community with lots of people who have had lots of success, and we'll answer your questions when I'm not available.
Yeah. But so those seizure patients get dramatically better.
That's
the
awesome.
last one I had went from daily to one every 3 or 4 months.
Wow.
Yeah, and they're starting to cut back on their meds, and I may make it go away completely because their meds are really high in copper.
Yeah.
And so they're like, the less meds I take, the fewer seizures I have. I'm like, okay, boy, I don't think anyone wants to hear that, but you go ahead and keep working with your doctors there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's crazy. Migraines too. I've had patients have migraines daily for years. They do that low copper diet. Maybe take some other things, like we talked about tonight, deal with their MTHFR and all that. And suddenly they're having one migraine every 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
If that. And then eventually they go away.
I don't have headaches or anything. If I have a headache, it's because I need to get adjusted.
You caused me a headache a lot. So I'm teasing. I just thought that sounded fun.
You think you're funny now?
Yeah.
I think we did it.
Little short corgi arms and all. I'm like a squirrel. Okay. Cool. So in 2 weeks, I'm going to use my dad voice. 2 weeks. Okay. 2 weeks. We're going to talk about things you want to have in your food storage, or I don't know what your emergency preparedness kit for long term. Essential oils. I'm going to discuss my favorite essential oils and a lot of other things I have ideas on. And maybe we'll bring Lois back and bug her more, but we'll see. She's fragile.
Hopefully I'll be sleeping a little bit more.
And I'm clunky and not that fragile. Apparently, if I eat the wrong foods all day, I'm fragile.
Yeah. Right?
So, yeah. So, Jackson, Brecken, do you have anything to add?
No.
Hey, Black Friday and Cyber Monday's coming.
Yep.
Big things are happening.
So exciting.
Be ready. Okay. Thank you, guys. We love you all. Jackson, are you going to play the end song?
We've never had an outro, no.
Outro?
You can sing them a song on their way out.
We're not doing that.
Go on, Dr. Purser.
Nope.
I'll play you a beat.
Okay. That's like something from Disney World, the jungle area. Okay, I love you guys. Go and get health, and God bless. Bye.